Hello everyone and thank you for tuning into TradeChat. My name is Panzer and by now I am sure you have seen the headline on all of your favorite gaming internet publications. World of Warcraft Legion has sold 3.4 million copies in its first 24 hours globally, making it one of the fastest selling PC games of all time, which the thick irony there is that the other games that it is among, the one of the fastest selling games is World of Warcraft Cataclysm and World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor. So Blizzard is kind of, swinging around at the top of that list, just having a grand old time. And I'm seeing a lot of people saying, is this the revival of World of Warcraft? Has World of Warcraft come back to life? And even though you guys know I am easily one of the biggest Blizzard fans on the face of the planet, I'm going to say that it's a little too early to make that kind of judgment, although I would argue that World of Warcraft never really died. I've never taken a break from World of Warcraft, ever. Like, the entire time I've played, there have been times when I've played less, or maybe I haven't raided, but there's never been a time that I have straight up not played, not had an active subscription, and I know a lot of people that are quite like myself. I know that World of Warcraft right now doesn't report their subscriber numbers. They haven't been doing that for a while, but the last time we knew, I want to say that it was in the ballpark of like 5.3 million, which is still not a dead game, guys. I'm just saying 5.3 million is still something like 5 or 6 times the second highest subscription-based MMO RPG's player base. So WoW never died. I just want to put that out on the table. I am coming from the opinion that World of Warcraft was never dead to begin with, so you can't really bring something back to life. Like, how can you kill what has no life? I don't know. I think you get what I'm saying here. And I am shameless about my bias, but all of that being said, I don't think that it's an appropriate time to be saying, this is it, boys! This is the revitalization of World of Warcraft, because we're 2 weeks into the expansion. Everybody really liked Warlords of Draenor for the first month too, and then things went vastly downhill from there. But what I will say, as someone who has experienced many a World of Warcraft expansion launches, Legion has received such overwhelming positivity that I have a hard time believing that it's not something that people are really enjoying. And part of the reason that people are really enjoying World of Warcraft Legion has to do with the scaling tech as well as the content that is available at max level. Like, there has been... So, okay, let me rewind for a second. When I first started playing World of Warcraft, when I was a wee baby World of Warcraft player, I rolled a Tauren Druid and I leveled her all the way up to max level, which at the time was level 70. I started playing in like October 2007, so it's been a little while since I started playing, and I remember when I was leveling up my little baby Tauren Druid, I was telling someone that I worked with, at the time I was a server at Uno, Chicago Grill, good times, not really, that I was playing WoW, and he was like, oh, you play WoW, what's your main? And I'm like, oh yeah, my Druid's level 43, and he was like, you're a little WoW baby, and I was offended. What do you mean I'm a little WoW baby? You're a little WoW baby. You don't know my life. I'm level 43. That's a grind. This was before XP gear. This was before refer a friend bonuses. This was before any of that. Like, it really was a little bit of a commitment in the day to get max level, and gosh darn it, I was more than halfway there, and I was offended that I had been told, you're just a baby WoW player, because in my experience playing games prior to World of Warcraft, I played like casual games. Casual isn't quite the right word, but when I was growing up, we had like a PlayStation 2, and I played games that you picked up and put down, and you paused, and you didn't sit and play for 8 hours at a shot. Maybe you did, but it wasn't an often thing. So at this point, when I was talking to this guy, I had dumped like probably 100 hours at least into WoW already, and I was just baffled that someone could say I was like not experienced in this game, because if you had 100 hours in Tony Hawk's Underground Pro 2, you were doing some stuff, man. You were doing some 360 no-scope jazz at that point in your life. And even like right before I started playing WoW, I had kind of started to get into Halo, but I hadn't gotten like so deep into Halo that I still think at that time I had played a little more WoW than Halo. But anyways, so I remember being offended because what do you mean I'm a little baby WoW player? And he was like, no, the game starts at max level. It's not like you're trying to get to level 70 and that's just it. The game starts at max level. And I was like, what? Like my little naive heart, I didn't know that. And, I remember hitting max level in Burning Crusade, and there was so much to do. Like, you first had to get your rep to get your shoulder enchants, and it was like 1,500 gold to get a flying mount, and that was all the gold I had. And then the shoulder enchants, which I was a scryer. I don't know if you were an Aldor or a scryer here. And I did, we raided Karazhan, which we'll talk about in a second. Put a pin in that. We raided Karazhan, and then we went on to raid. We actually skipped SSC and TK. I don't know. We weren't a very good guild. And we did like High Jaw. We did Gruul's Lair and Mag Theridon's also lair. Was it also a lair? They were both lairs, I think. And then I think that's where we ended. I don't think we made it very far into Sunwell. But we also had the Isle of Kildonis to quest on, and you had, your dailies in Shadrath. You had your fishing daily. It felt like there was so much to do. Plus, there were all these reps to grind. There was never a point when I was playing Burning Crusade when I was like, I'm bored. I have nothing to do. In fact, I remember having a moment of, what did I do with my life before I played World of Warcraft? Because, my God, this shit is taking over my life. But for a couple expansions there, I'm not sure that we had that sense of max level as the beginning of the game. I feel like in Cataclysm, Wrath definitely was like that. Wrath was an amazing expansion, and at all the things that I said back in, 2010, 2011, all the things I said bad about Wrath, I'm putting my foot in my mouth. I was young and I didn't know any better. Wrath was an awesome expansion. And once again, the things that I was like sick of in Wrath were like so much stuff. Like, why would you be sick of, I had so many quests to do to earn so many mounts, and there was a lot of alts I had to do raids on, okay? Like, those are not problems, baby Panzer. Those are not problems. And then we saw Cataclysm coming. Cataclysm flipped us. It flipped it, twisted it, and reversed it. It's yours to give me a rant in it. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for that. Anyways, Cataclysm was rough because Cataclysm, it was really hard. That's what I remember from my experience going from Wrath to Cataclysm. And I think a lot of people were happy with that because it had that vanilla kind of vibe to it, and people were wearing blues and not epics. But it also felt like a lot of Cataclysm, if you didn't have a good guild, was unobtainable. Even though we had the looking for group thing added in the end of Wrath, which was so cool when it first came out, I still felt like dungeons were really hard. I didn't have a great guild at the time. My guild had transferred to Oceanic servers. I don't know what they're doing with their lives. And I remember feeling like if you didn't raid and you weren't in a really good group, there wasn't a lot that felt meaningful to do. So Cataclysm was an expansion where I didn't quite play as much as I would have liked because I just didn't have those options in front of me. Then Mist of Pandaria came out, and I would argue that Mist of Pandaria was a good expansion. I know a lot of people were upset about pandas. By the way, I was one of the people upset about pandas. I think I said something like, if Blizzard is serious about pandas, I will quit the game. Fast forward 7 years, I main a panda. Hypocritical asshole. Anyways, I thought Mist of Pandaria was a really good expansion. There were so many dailies to do. We went from, we had dailies in Wrath, and people were like, too many dailies. I was one of those people, so annoying. Too many dailies, blah, 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 blah. Then we went to CATA where they were like, no dailies, that's the end of dailies. And then it felt like if you weren't raiding, what the heck do you do with your life? And then we went to Mist of Pandaria where there was another knee-jerk reaction that was like, so I heard you like dailies, dog. Here's some dailies on your dailies, on your dailies, on your dailies, on your dailies. And then on top of there being so many dailies, there were things that were gated behind reputations like gear. So if you were someone who was trying to catch up, if you, maybe like me, didn't have a guild. Actually, funny story. I'm going to put a pin in that and tell you my guild in Mist of Pandaria. Okay, so the guild I'm in now, I joined at the end of Mist of Pandaria, and we've been together ever since. It's been a lovely, sunlit, moonlit guild romance. we love each other. But before that, I had a bunch of different guilds. I had a guild. Now that I think about it, I think that my Cataclysm guild was just way too good for me, and I wasn't invited to their raids. Probably for good reason. Not so much anymore. I could probably hold my own now, but back in the day, I main hopped a lot, and I did not know. I was one of those people who knew a lot about a little, like, I knew a little about a lot of things and not a lot about any one thing. So I was not the right person for their raid group. And it was in Mists of Pandaria that guild moved to Oceanic servers, and then I didn't have a guild at all. So I kind of like did the guild list thing. I did LFR like a hero. I mean, I was like I was dripping in the best LFR gear you could get. And I was doing pugs, and I was in what is the raid? It's a Mists of Pandaria raid. It's not Siege of Orgrimmar. It's not the dinosaur raid. No, it's not Throne of Thunder. Throne of Thunder is the dinosaur one. It's the one before that with the, I feel like there's a boss that's wind related. I didn't do that raid very much, like 2 or 3 times, but hopefully you know what in the world I'm talking about. But I pugged that raid, and they were like, wow, you're such a good elemental shaman. And I was like, whoa, thanks for recognizing my skills, guys. And they're like, we don't have an elemental shaman in our guild. Do you want to be in our guild? And I was like, bam, did it, boys. I'm in the guild. So I joined the guild, and everything's going really great. Like, I get along with everybody. The raid times are good. We're just kind of like casually getting through raids, but in a good way, not in a bad way. And One day, he wasn't the raid leader, but he was the main tank, was like, so guys, should I do a shot during raid? And I'm like, yeah, do a shots, everybody! Was not talking about alcohol. He was talking about heroin. So that didn't go well. Like, not at that very moment, but once the heroin was out for the world to, because, you know, then he's like, heroin, and I'm like, no, don't do heroin. What are you, crazy? Don't do heroin. Spoiler, he did the heroin, and he kept doing the heroin. And fast forward a few weeks, it might have been a little more than a month, and our main tank got arrested for stealing a car, selling the car, and then using the money to buy more heroin. So that guild broke up because our main tank was a heroin addict, and then nobody really knew how to deal with replacing. I don't know. I guess we could have replaced him, but everybody felt really shitty about the situation because we're not like rehab therapists and did not know how to handle that at all. And so he was in jail, and they kind of moved, and I was like not in their cliquey group yet. Like, I'd only been in the guild for a couple months, so I didn't feel like committed to going with them. I guess I was welcome, but I wasn't invited. Do you know what I mean? Like, there was a conversation amongst the higher-ups that knew each other better than I did, and they were like, they just moved. And then I walked on one day, and I'm like, oh, where did everybody go? And they're like, oh, we went here. You can come here too. And I was like, feels bad, man. So I didn't, and I went back to being guildless, LFR hero, kept LFRing, getting dem welfare epics. And one day, this guy on Twitter is like, hey, you should join my guild. And I was like, bam, done. And I've been in that guild ever since. I was going somewhere with this whole thought, and I sort of lost my thought process. But what I think I was trying to say is that in Cataclysm, we didn't have a lot of content outside of raids. Then in Mists of Pandaria, we did, right? Like, we had all these dailies, but the dailies were kind of for raiders. Like, the only point of doing a lot of those reputations was just to get, like, the piece of gear that was gated behind that rep. So even when I wasn't in a guild, it didn't feel like there was a lot of max level content to do outside of raids, so I found myself doing crappy LFR raids because it felt like that was all there really was to do. Then we get into Warlords of Draenor. Warlords of Draenor literally has... Okay, this is a thought I've expressed a lot that is, I guess, controversial, but I don't think Warlords of Draenor so much lacked content as it lacked pacing. Because every guild I know, and obviously this is anecdotal, this isn't based on statistics and server-wide things, this is like me and my friends and the people that I talk to. When Blackrock Foundry came out, everybody I knew for the most part was very early in Mythic Highmaul. Like, they had gone through regular, they had gone through heroic, and they were like just starting Mythic, and that's when Blackrock Foundry came out. Then the same thing happened with Blackrock Foundry. They went through normal, they went through heroic, they were just getting into mythic, and then Hellfire Citadel came out. And since it was only 3 raids for the whole expansion, there was no more content after that, and we were like, oh, so we're in Hellfire Citadel forever now, and the gear was so completely obsolete every time a new raid came out that there was no point in going back. You overpowered it so much it wasn't a challenge and it wasn't fun. So I don't think it's so much, like if you were looking at just raids, right? Like raiding wasn't so much the issue, it was the way that it was paced. It was the way the content was paced. That being said, there was, again, not a whole lot to do outside of raiding. You had your pit dailies, which rewarded crap. And once you got the achievement for Draenor flying, there was not a whole lot of point in it. We had the Apexis grind, which as someone who did raid last expansion, I know like a lot of you guys are kind of newer subscribers. I raid in a like semi-hardcore guild. Like we were 13 out of 13 last year, but full disclosure, our 13th kill was after the nerf, but we had the first 12 before the nerf, go us. And we had lots of kills on all the other bosses. Just Mineral was a jerk, man. Anyways, so like there was nothing worth doing because you had the Apexis, you had the pit dailies, like I said, there's just no point. And then you had all the stuff for Apexis, but the thing is the Apexis gear was so bad that you could get better gear from like PvP. There was no point in spending all of that time to earn all of those Apexis to get like shitty blue gear. It just wasn't valuable at all. And then there wasn't, like they added that quest giver who would come and like give you a quest like, go kill Bracken Spore. But again, he didn't give anything that was worth a damn. So it was like any of the content that was in Warlords of Draenor did not have any valuable rewards that say you should go do this. Like they had like several, 3 world bosses, and all of them dropped crap. So it was like there might have been like a month or a 6-week period where those bosses were like semi-relevant, but they never dropped gear good enough to compete with raid gear. So no one of you need a certain mix of people that are geared and not geared to kind of make those types of activities fun. And if all the raiders are like, well, that gear is shit, I'm not doing it, it makes it less fun for the other people doing it because there's not that big boost of damage or healing or whatever. And I'm not saying it's a carry. I think you guys know what I mean. Just diversity in a raid that's going for a world boss. But so you had these bits and pieces of content, but none of them were worth doing, or they were so poorly paced out. And then it was like, Tanan was cool. Like, let me just give credit where credit is due. Tanan was cool. But once again, as soon as you got Draenor flying, I didn't go back because what was the point? There was no point. Even like Valor did not drop off of anything there. Like, we all went back in Mists of Pandaria to the Timeless Isles to farm gulp frogs for Valor. There wasn't even anything like that in Tanan. So it was like once everybody got Draenor Pathfinder, they were done with Tanan, and it was sort of sad because it was like a really cool zone that just kind of stopped getting used. So I feel like where I was going with this 15-minute explanation is that Legion has really brought us back to a time where max level is legitimately the beginning of the game, not the end. Because you hit max level, and for me, I didn't even touch Azuna. I got all the way through Valshara, High Mountain, and Stormheim. I didn't even finish Stormheim, and I hit level 110. So I went through and I finished Stormheim, did all the treasures. I was doing my profession quest the whole time. Now I have to go and do Azuna because I have to get friendly. Then I have to do Suramar and get friendly. Then I have world quests that are just opening up. And then, there's like so much to do once you hit max level that it's almost overwhelming. Like, never in my life have I been like, I have to choose between quests. Which one do I pick? Because right now you have a cap of 25 quests in between. I mean, at any point you could have 5, 7 profession quests at once, and then you've got, your class quest and your order hall quest and your world quest and your zone quest. They're all over the place, and I'm not complaining. This is me not complaining. What a wonderful problem to have, is that I have too much to do. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I feel like a lot of other people feel this way. And the quests that you're getting from these zones and from world quests and stuff are interesting and fun. Like, they're sending you off to do dungeons. They're sending you to get pets and mounts, and oh my god, there's so many pets off of treasures and rares, it's unreal. I've been going through and killing rares, I've been just doing everything, and I feel like I've been very completionist about the whole thing. Like, I have 100%ed. I know High Mountain, done. There's nothing, not a single thing left for me to do in High Mountain minus whatever I get in World Quest, because I got all the treasures, I killed all the rares, I did all the quests, all the side quests, everything. High Mountain, done. Val'sharah, I am almost done. There was the first day, there was a rare I couldn't spawn because the NPC was bugged out. So I left a couple treasures in that area so that when I went back to get the NPC, I'd have a couple other things to grab. Once those are done with Val'sharah completely. Stormheim, I have not gotten a bunch of the treasures because I don't know about you guys, but anytime I have to like navigate my way through things that are up and down and in and out and caves and mountains and I struggled a little bit with Stormheim, and a lot of the treasures I cannot tell if they're up high or down low or somewhere hiding in the middle, so I have to go back and do those at some point. But I just finished all the quests last night. Going to Ajuna now. I've got I want to say I'm 20% of the way through Ajuna because I kind of have been hopping around. ADD too strong, really. And Ajuna is amazing. It's the prettiest zone ever. It's unreasonably pretty, and there's I have a bunch of profession quests there. I have so much to do. And then I think for once I hit friendly, I'm not going to finish the zone. I'm going to move to Suramar, hit friendly with Suramar so that I can do world quests, and then as I'm doing my world quests in life, I can sort of in tandem finish up the zones I haven't finished yet. But I just feel overwhelmed with stuff to do, and raids haven't even come out yet. And for the first time in a long time, I totally want to PvP this expansion. The PvP rewards are so cool. Artifact appearances are so freaking cool. I want all of them. I really do. And there's pets and mounts. There's a little guy who follows you around. I want the guy. So I also want a PvP. I've never felt so I want to do everything. And that's honestly how I feel in Legion, and I feel I've said I feel a lot. I'm sorry. I'm one of those people. I try not to project. I'm not oh, you did that. I'm always I feel that way. But anyways, there's so much to do, and it's we've barely dented, I don't know what this is, dented the surface of shit to do in Legion. And we've got these huge announcements of Karazhan with Halls of Valor. There's, I think, other stuff. There's a whole quest line leading up to Karazhan that's an attunement that they said. And I also found out that Suramar is going to have freaking Suramar mana mounts of some sort with runes and stuff on it. There's so much stuff on it. And somebody found that jellyfish mount. I don't know if you guys saw that, but somebody found that jellyfish mount. It's in a cave, and you have to do some voodoo shit to summon it, and then maybe you'll get a mount. I don't know. And then all the hidden stuff. There's hidden stuff everywhere. There's a 6th artifact variant for every single artifact, and I think we only know how to find 4 of them right now, because they're just in there somewhere. In legendaries, I haven't gotten one of those yet. I want one real bad. So it's I just feel so motivated to play the game, which is something I haven't felt in a really long time. I haven't played Overwatch it is the 8th. I played Overwatch on the 29th. That is the last time. It has been 9 days. It has not been this long since I haven't played Overwatch, since freaking beta closed and didn't let me play Overwatch anymore. That being said, I really want to play Overwatch. I can't. I have to make the hard choices right now, and all of the signs are pointing to Legion. So in closing, sorry for the super long video. Wait, so we were talking about how Legion, everybody's saying will this revive WoW? And it's obviously sold the same amount of copies as Mists of Pandaria. No, not Mists of Pandaria. As Warlords of Draenor, as well as Cataclysm. And they keep saying, oh, my dog's in the room now. You can't see him, but he just walked in and scared the crap out of me. They keep saying that Blizzard has said a few times that Warlords, nope. Legion, I'm never gonna, it's gonna take me so long to say the expansion name properly. Legion has the most concurrent players that they've seen since Cataclysm. Now, we don't have any data on concurrent players, and that basically means the amount of players literally playing at the same time. But we do know that just before Cataclysm launched, World of Warcraft had 12 million subscribers. And then, shortly after Warlords, where they also had 3.3 million units sold, they had 10 million subscribers. So we can guess that that's probably around the subscriber number right now. If you average them, that'd be 11. Haha, math. I don't really know what that would mean as far as how many players were on at once because we don't have any data to reference from the past. But as of right now, World of Warcraft seems to be doing very, very well. It seems like they're doing significantly better than they were doing at the end of Warlords, mid-Pandaria. But it's going to be a test of time. We're going to have to wait a month, 2 months, and see how many people stick around, see how many people are coming for CATA and for Halls of Valor. Everything's so close in name. I can't. I want to, but I can't. I'm going to screw up all of those names for gosh darn ever. But it's just going to be a matter of, are they going to put out content? Is there going to be enough content to keep people engaged long term? As of right now, I would put my money on yes. I know, once again, we spent 2 minutes, 3 minutes covering that I am biased towards Blizzard. I know this. I'm not denying this. So if you're typing comment right now, ugh, Blizzard shill bitch cunt, she fucking will say anything nice about Blizzard. You're kind of right, but you're not. I mean, Blizzard doesn't pay me, but you're right. I find very little fault in what Blizzard does. I think they're an awesome company. I love their games. I have never been passionate about anything the way I've been about World of Warcraft. Sorry, husband. Anyways, I just feel like with all the announcements they made about the content, we know that we're getting a patch sometime at the end of this year that's going to introduce us to that mini raid that has 3 bosses. It's called Halls of Valor. It's going to finish up the Stormheim quest line. We also know that we're getting Karazhan in the near future, which is a 5-man, basically raid-style encounter, weekly lockout, 9 bosses. It's going to be like a new version of the Karazhan that we played back in BC. I know we said we'd talk about that in a little while, but this video's getting mighty long, and I need to work on not making all of my videos 40 minutes long. I can talk to no one. It's a conversational thing. I pretend you're listening. It's what I do in real life too. It's how to maintain a successful marriage, honestly. But I don't know. I'm really excited for everything that's coming up. I think they're doing a lot of nostalgia things that are really good, bringing in things like Kara and Illidan, and like people have wanted Demon Hunters forever. But with the way they've made announcements, we already know we have those things coming. We know we have more quests coming. We know we have more world quests coming. We know we have new artifact variants coming. And this is only really the first tier of content, essentially. Like, they're not breaking it up into tiers. I guess the raid, it would be Nighthold. Nighthold comes out in the beginning of, I use quotes because beginning of 2016 to Blizzard could be May, but we're going to get that raid as well afterwards. So we've already got these like 3 big announced pieces of PvP content, PvE content. This is what happens when I just talk from my head, man. I get the hiccups, my brain stops working, my dog busts in the door. I don't know what's going on, man. Like, but I don't know. I just feel like with all of the things they've announced, with all the things we know we have coming, I think we're going to get a huge announcement at BlizzCon. Words are freaking hard. You know why? If you notice, towards the beginning of the video, words aren't quite as hard as they are now. It's because my office is upstairs. I don't know if you noticed on my old videos, you could see it older. It was like 2 weeks ago I moved my desk. But in my videos before I moved my desk around, I am in... My house doesn't have like an attic. It has a crawl space, and I'm essentially in the attic. What would be the attic? I mean, it's a full room, but it's hot AF up here, and I can't have the window AC on because it's loud. And you guys know I already have audio issues. I can never get my audio right. I think I'm not using the right kind of mic for my setup, and I'm working on it. It's just, it seems like every time I get one thing dealt with, like, go look at my video quality a year and a half ago. Seriously, that was bad. Like, it was bad. It was not an old camera, and that was bad. So it's like, I finally got my video quality dealt with. Now the audio quality's crap. So as soon as I get that dealt with, I'm sure something else will be terrible. But in the meantime, I appreciate you bearing with me. I personally think that Legion is not the revival of WoW, but it is definitely a catalyst for success. I don't know how to put it. I definitely think it's going to bring a lot of players back. It's already brought a lot of players back. My raid in the end of Hellfire Citadel, we were still recruiting right until the end, and we always had 20, but sometimes that 20 was a struggle. Sometimes there was a friend on, or, somebody who wasn't necessarily in a guild, and now we have a roster going in to the first raid, 2 full raids of 25 plus people to do normal, and everybody has to be 840 at least. So it's like, I know just anecdotally that there are 3 times more players than there were at the end of Warlords. But I think Legion is going to be really good for World of Warcraft. I think it's going to bring a lot of people back. I think it's going to intrigue a lot of new players. I think the players like me who have stuck around the whole time feel like, this is what they've been waiting for. You know, they knew this was going to happen. We were all very committed, and we just knew this was going to happen. And this is our, like, grand prize for sticking around as long as we have. But so TLDR, in closing, Legion isn't the revitalization of WoW, because WoW didn't actually die. But Legion is sure injecting some good stuff. No shit. Now we sound like we're talking about my heroine main tank, and I didn't mean that at all. So, anyways, Legion's good. Legion's real good. If you saw my notes, you would crack up. I have 4 bullet points in this video. I know the video is not going to be 33 minutes long, but that's where my recording is at right now. And the last thing, I didn't actually talk about one of the bullet points. The last bullet point I had was a lot of people are saying, well, how could there be this many players? I don't see anybody. And that's literally just because of the new server tech. Over the years, we've seen so much server tech with cross-realm zones and phasing and being able to play with people on other servers. And one of the things that they did in that process was called sharding, not to be confused with sharting. Sharding, like, you know, you shard epics into purples. And what that does is it basically gives you your own little portion of the server, and just you and a few pals share it so that people aren't, you know, fighting for the same mobs, and it's not overcrowded and unfun. Sharding is for fun. That's the name of this game. I'm gonna go. I tried really hard to keep this TLDR, and this is me trying. I will have a video later on. I guess not this week, because I'm so confused as to days, because I got home on like a Tuesday, which is so weird from traveling. But in the next couple days, I'm going to have a video about PAX, lots of footage from PAX and my experience there. It was a great con. If I met you there, you were awesome. I didn't meet one person who wasn't awesome. Everybody was fucking awesome at PAX. I don't know, Seattle's just one of those cities where everyone is just awesome in Seattle. What is that? Yeah, so I'll have that video coming up soon. I'm also going to do the video about LASIK that you guys have been asking for, as well as the video about like a tattoo update. I also have a Draw My Life coming up. The script is written, and I started to do it digitally and then realized that that is not a very optimal way to handle that. It takes a really long time. So I just got to go buy myself a whiteboard, and then Draw My Life is happening, and you guys are going to be like, what is this mess? This mess is my life, internet. This mess is my life. And then I also have coming up, one of the rewards for St. Jude was to do like a Bob Ross style painting video. And I'm actually going to do a Bob Ross style painting video of a scene from World of Warcraft Legion. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you paint at all, you can paint along with me, and we'll just paint some savage little clouds. Yeah, I think that's it though. So I'm gonna go. Let me know in the comments below what your opinions are. Do you think WoW died and it's being revived by mercy? Or do you think WoW was never really dead? That it was just like keeping it on the DL, but now it's going on the not DL. I'm down with the youths. I'm hip. Can you tell? Probably not. You're just not as hip as me. These are jokes. I had a moment. Okay, so the video's over, technically. So if you're done with the video about WoW, I'm going to talk about something unrelated to WoW now. I went to PAX, and it was PAX West. It's in Seattle. And apparently PAX was the same weekend as a music festival called Bumbershoot, which I assume is like an EDM festival. I don't know. I saw a lot of people that were very clearly on a lot of drugs. While I was walking around, my brother lives in Spokane, so he drove and came and saw me, and me and my husband and his girlfriend, my brother's girlfriend, not my husband's girlfriend. That would be, I mean, I guess that's not weird if that's your relationship. It would be weird in my relationship. I digress. The 4 of us were walking around, and we had kind of wandered to an area where we could hear the music of Bumbershoot. And I found it really confusing and honestly disturbing, because all of a sudden I hear like wails, like, ooh, like just like that, like whale noises. And I'm like, the shit? Like, is that a fucking whale? Is there an orca around here? Like, what is going on? And then like, it goes like quiet, right? Like, whale peaks, like, whoa. And then the whale kind of trails off, and the crowd goes wild. Wah, wah. The crowd is like freaking out. And I'm like, what are they freaking out about? Like whale noise? I don't understand. Then the beat drops, right? Like, okay, so we've got whale noises, silence, boom, like beat drop. And then the crowd goes wild again. They're losing their minds. Ah! And then the whale starts up again. So it's like, ooh, boom, ooh, boom, ooh, boom. I'm like, what is this music? This sounds like they're clubbing baby seals. Like, this is not me. This is not okay. And I mean, I like to think that I'm like hip with what the youths are into, and I did not get this at all. So as I'm already confused about what I'm listening to, a rapper just comes out of nowhere, just like, yo, dude, had a bit of that, man, ooh, boom. Like, it sounded like an orgy of 3 songs that did not go together, just messily going at it, while the crowd is like losing their shit. Like, they can't handle life right now because it's so intense. And I like had to leave. I'm like, I want to walk away. I feel old. I feel out of touch. I'm uncomfortable. I don't understand the youths, and this is not music. So that was me. That was me at a outside of a music festival, being extremely confused by the youths and what they like these days. So if you're familiar with the whale dubstep rap song and you know about that and you can link me to it, maybe it sounds better when you're not outside of a festival. But I mean, I have an open mind and I did not understand that shit. It sounded like the hardcore sounds of the deep ocean on the wrong side of the tracks. I don't even know. It was fucking weird. It was fucking weird. So yeah, that was my story. I hope you liked it. Now I'm really going to go. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I've got a ton of new subscribers and shit lately, and I don't know where you all came from. I thought it was kind of hilarious that in my last vlog I did about Legion, I thought, like, no joke, I thought that was going to get like 7,000, 8,000 views, and I talked about like camel toe. Like, I talked about things in that video that I may not have been comfortable talking about had I known it was going to get a metric butt ton of views. But now I just feel like maybe, yeah, I know, Tyke, I know. I don't know if you heard my dog, but he agrees. Like, maybe that wasn't a great choice on my part, but we're here now and we're dealing with the consequences of our actions as always. So thank you if you watched that video. Thank you if you've recently subscribed to me and I haven't said thank you or hi yet. I really appreciate it. I am going to go. I hope that you guys are all having a wonderful day. I love you all. You're in my heart. I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.